We're here together with Ronald today. He has kindly accepted to join us, the editors of Aspire magazine, for a brief interview. He's going to talk about his life possibly, and of course I don't want to give up, so a lot of what he will be saying, I will leave that to Ronald himself. Thank you again for accepting to give us your time. And the first question I would like to pose to you would be, who is Ronald Aquilina and what makes him tick?
Yes, I consider myself to be an introvert stroke extrovert person. I try as much as possible to reach a balance. I am also fulfilling my role here as lecturer, and this is giving me a lot of satisfaction for the simple reason that if I tell you what my background is, I spent over 35 years in industry, and so I am finding these 35 years of the previous work experience that I've had, I am trying as much as possible to share my experiences with the students, and I'm also striving to lead what is being called today work-life balance, but lately I'm finding it to be very difficult. And basically I am encouraged continuously to help, especially and to assist the students that I lecture on a day-to-day basis.
Which is obviously your main aim of today. But when you said 35 years of industry, what, without advertising other companies, what would that entail? Where have you been?
Yeah,
where has this taken you?
Yes, looking back, I started my career with Doughty Malta Limited. When I was 22, I had just finished my degree in economics, and I spent 14 years with this company, Doughty Malta Limited, which is today Streleborg. This company manufactures O-rings, rubber O-rings, which are used for aircraft, vehicles, dishwashers, so on and so forth, all the appliances. And in my view, that was my university of life, for the simple reason that in my first 3 years, I got a lot of experience dealing with companies like Fiat. I was in sales actually, companies like Grundfos from Denmark, and I was in charge actually of the Western European customers of Doughty at the time, and obviously that gave me a lot of exposure, in the sense that I also was involved in dealing with these customers to deliver not the standard orders but the non-standard orders, and so I also served as a liaison with all the departments, starting from rubber preparation to pressing of O-rings, the trimming of O-rings, inspection, so on and so forth, until the goods, these rubber O-rings were dispatched. Then, I started at a very young age, obviously after my university days, and then 3 years later, I embarked on my IT career, because even though I have a degree in economics, and this explains one thing to me, that a degree gives the person an inquiring mind. Sometimes it is not essential that you work on the same subject or topic that you have specialized. In fact, in my view, I was very versatile, and I embarked on Doughty's computerization program in 1979. I consider myself to be lucky, but obviously I had to make a big effort, because I had to go to the UK to study programming, and then obviously to study systems analysis and design. And I spent, since 1979 until 2007, I spent my my working time developing information systems for industry, big systems.
When computers, the world of computers was still at the start, basically.
That's in 1979. Let me remind you, in 1979 there were no PCs. PCs came around in 1986.
Exactly.
So between 1979 and 1986 and even afterwards, my exposure wasn't on mainframes. I was developing software on mainframes. Okay, and so I spent 11 years as a programmer. Then I was promoted to project leader, systems analyst, systems manager, until I was, literally deposed by Marsovin, whereby I joined Marsovin as a systems manager in 1987. And I spent 19 years of my life at Marsovin, from systems manager until, obviously, I spent the last 12 years there as an IT manager. I was the IT manager of Marsovin's group of companies. I developed Marsovin ZRP system. Obviously, I was not on my own. I had a team of analysts and programmers there as well. And so, obviously, as you can imagine, these two companies, both Doughty and Marsovin, they were obviously, I call them the University of Life. The exposure, the amount of exposure that I got over these years, for the simple reason that I was continuously implementing change. I was continuously meeting people, key users from different functional areas of the business, being people from marketing, from HR, from the financial department, from production, so on and so forth. But then, something I would like to mention, a very important aspect which happened in my life. After about, this was in 1997, so that would be 15 years ago, I felt that despite that I had a first degree in economics, and despite that I had a lot of experience in IT, however, I felt that my exposure was not that wide in 1997. And so I carried out a soul searching exercise whereby I decided to start studying again after 25 years, whereby I went to the University of Malta, and I embarked on a master's in business administration.
And how old were you roughly at that age?
At that age, I started my master's in business when I was 47.
So it is amazing how education,
I was so, yes.
Education is something which isn't limited to yourself being a young person, but whenever the need comes for education, you still are always in time to actually go there, do it. The important thing is to have the need, the push, and the desire to actually do it.
Actually, you are right, because something which I don't know whether you know, but even currently I am in my final year of my DBA. So since 1997, and if you it's already 15 years from that date, and I'm still studying. So I don't think that studying has got to do with age. I mean, as long as you have the mental sanity to continue. I mean, I think you will never grow old, actually. So, and this master's in business administration. This is, I would say, where the vocation to become a lecturer, the seed of, to become a lecturer was sort of planted there within me. I felt, I don't know why, that I was a bit, to be honest with you, I was a bit disappointed with some lecturers at the time. And I said, well, if I would be a lecturer, I would do my utmost not to disappoint students.
To be better, to improve, learn from mistakes of others.
So I finished my master's in 2001, and actually I was offered the opportunity to start lecturing business and management by the principal, Mr. Toma. in 2003 on a part-time basis. And this is what kicked me off in this vocational profession, because I consider it to be lecturing. I consider lecturing to be a vocation, and it is also a profession.
Okay.
And I've been in this field now for the past 9 years. Obviously now I am a full-time lecturer, and I can tell you that I enjoy lecturing a lot, because the fact that I am transferring all the knowledge that I have gathered throughout my years at the university, the knowledge that I'm gathering now through my studies, and the experiences that I've had in my various jobs. I am obviously using all these experiences and transferring this knowledge to the students that I am.
In fact, you have just preempted one of my questions, one of my most important questions, which is from manager to a lecturer. You are still taking care of people, you are still teaching people in a way, but obviously your role would differ in many aspects. You have basically answered what brought about the change. Would you ever go back to your previous role? Have you ever considered going back to your previous role as a manager? And why, if not, why would lecturing be something that you prefer right now?
Okay, two things. Something which I did not mention is that when I joined St. Martin's on a full-time basis, I was performing a dual role. I was performing the role of vice principal, which obviously that entails liaising with the principal and also managing the lecturers. And so I performed this role for almost 4.5 years. And I was also performing the role of a lecturer. So initially, when I joined St. Martin's on a full-time basis, I was I lost nothing of what I was doing previously in terms of management, and I was also fulfilling my dream to start transferring my knowledge to other people. However, I'm not vice principal anymore. The reason is that obviously, as I have told you earlier on in this interview, besides lecturing, obviously in my spare time, I am also pursuing my doctoral studies, and so obviously
final stages of your
I am hopefully, let's hope that it will happen. It could be within a year or within 2 years.
And we at Aspire wish you obviously the very best, and we know that being yourself, having known you for the past 3 years or so, we know that you will do your best to actually share it with your students, and because your love for students is well known in the Institute, the wish that you want to promote them, not just teach them, but promote them to become a good investment for the whole country in the future. It's very interesting about this particular PhD, a doctorate at this particular time. Why again?
Probably with hindsight, I think what happened to me, it came out as a natural process. The reason being that I have been giving advice to students who were pursuing the information systems and management degree with regards to their thesis. And so I was reading a lot of journals, so I was obviously feeling a lot of, I was being very satisfied from an intellectual perspective, and so it came out as a natural process. If you would have asked me this question, say 5 years ago, I would never have dreamt that I would be pursuing a doctoral study at this time and day in my life. However, I am also feeling that the fact that I am also studying, hopefully you know, I am serving as well as a role model for the students to let
Exactly.
to sort of tell them, listen, despite that you are still at a very young age, and despite that I am much older than you are, lifelong learning that doesn't stop. I mean, your learning doesn't stop at your age, but it will continue as long as you enjoy doing it.
Exactly.
And talking about the students, something which I like doing is that I continuously strive to inculcate enthusiasm into what they are doing. Because from my experience, that is the secret of success. If students are enthusiastic in what they are doing, they not only perform better in their examinations, and not only in their examinations, even in their personal development. My satisfaction is that, as you are aware at the moment, in Malta there is a lot of awareness with regards to even postgraduate studies, and even St. Martin's graduates, students which I have lectured, they continue to, contact me, asking me for my advice to, to continue their studies and to continue their postgraduate studies.
The bond created in this has prevailed through time.
And another point is that it is, in my view, it is important, something which up till now it has always happened, and hopefully it will continue to do so, that when I am in the lecture room, I forget everything except what I am lecturing on, and I try to, as much as possible, to be passionate and enthusiastic on the topic that I'm lecturing, and obviously try to also come up with practical experiences which I have experienced in my working life. And so today I consider myself to be both an academic and also a practitioner on the areas of interest, that is, I'm talking about information systems and I'm talking about business management. These are basically
who better to teach subjects than the person who was there. Finally, if you can give us a few words, you have already gone there in a way, a few words of advice to both your students, who will hopefully be seeing this clip on our magazine, and of course your colleagues.
Okay. I start with the students first, because in my view, the students are the most important asset of this organization. My advice is this: to succeed in your studies, it doesn't mean that you have to be a genius. In actual fact, I don't think I have ever met any geniuses during the past 9 years that I've been lecturing here, but I have met people having average intelligence, and I have seen people change throughout their tenure here at St. Martin's, and I have seen the students who became graduates progress in their career. So my advice is, obviously, one has to do an effort. It has to be an average effort, no big deal. We don't have to be nerds to succeed. And it is important that the students will be positive and enthusiastic in the endeavors that they are taking on a daily basis here. With regards to the lecturers, I've already told you that when you are prepared for the lectures, that obviously it is very important that lecturers are prepared. You feel everything is okay. Yeah, you will be able not only to manage yourself, but also you will manage others as well, because you are doing you are in control, you're doing your duty.
Exactly. Well, Mr. Ronald Aquilina, thank you so much for having been here today. Keith and I the editors of Aspire would like to take this occasion to thank you for answering these questions, and hopefully our readers will learn and keep on hoping based on the track record of our friend, colleague, Mr. Ronald Aquilina. Thank you so much.